Let's set up some more pages in my 2026 reading journal. Hey guys, I'm Tracy and I want to welcome you back to my channel. And yes, we are going to be setting up some more pages in my reading journal today. This is part of a reading journal setup series. I have already done 2 videos thus far. I believe it's only been 2. I will have them linked down in the description box. I also have a reading journal playlist if you're curious to see all of my other reading journal setups, monthly setups, annual setups, all that fun stuff. Then definitely check out that playlist. But the first video of this series, I did kind of a walkthrough of all of the pages and sections I wanted to include in my reading journal and talked about those that I was eliminating from previous years. So definitely check that out if you're someone new to reading journaling, just to kind of hear my thought process and maybe even hear about some of the pages that I'm not going to be including in this reading journal because you may want to include them in yours. And then in the second video, I just decorated some really cute pages. At least I think they are cute. And today we're going to do some more cute pages and also some very functional ones. I plan to have another setup video when I set up all of my challenges or some of my challenges. It might be a lot to do all of my challenges at once. And then I will do a final video where I will do a flip through of this journal because I have set up quite a few spreads off camera. So I will be sharing all of those with you guys when I do the final flip through. So the plan for today, what I'm definitely going to be doing today is my monthly stats page. And I also may go ahead and I probably will do the cover page for that. That is why this vellum is here. I may also do my kind of introductory page for this journal where I put my rating guide and like a key for other types of things like color coding and stuff like that. I'll just kind of have to see how I feel after I finish this. So I've already penciled in, that's why I have this here, my kind of thoughts about how I want it to lay out my table. And this is where it's going to house all of my monthly stats. So actually all of this information is going to be on my monthly pages. I love reading stats. That is one of the things that I absolutely love. I also love the Storygraph app, and that app houses a lot of stats. So I don't even really have to calculate a lot of this stuff myself. It's kind of calculated for me in the app, but I like to have it on my monthly pages where sometimes I break it down a little bit more in depth. And then I kind of want a high level overview here so I can compare month to month. So that is what we're going to be doing today. You can see I have a lot of categories that I want to track. We will go over those as I start setting it up. Just to kind of give you the dimensions and stuff like here. Basically, my titles, this is 3 rows here for my title. I also have 3 rows here for my mid-year kind of check-in. So I'm going to do a tally at the mid-year point. Probably not everything because some of these things I'm not sure that I can really tally at that point. We'll see, maybe. And then I'll have 3 at the end for my totals. And then all of the monthlies get 2 rows. I think I'm also going to use a different color pen to kind of box in the mid and the total to kind of make them stand out. And I think everything else I'm going to do black. So that is that. I did go into Canva, create some icons that I can use for my titles. I did these and it was kind of hard to do these, if I'm being honest, because I couldn't figure out the, are these off? Oh, I think this is off. Are my icons off too? It's clear, so I might be able to fix it, but I think these are all a little bit off. That is not good. I printed a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah, they're way too small anyway. I really want to use clear. I had no idea these were in here, y'all. So this is Purple Boxes and More. So when Mojo Jojo has her boxes and more, there are dates in here and they're on clear. There we go. Problem solved. These I might have to like piece things back together because I don't have very much of a offset. Oh, that sucks that it's that off. We'll see. We'll see how we're going to do this. It's hard to tell. Let me see if this is off. This one looks to be okay. okay. Yeah, this one looks to be okay. It's this page that is off, so I might have to reprint that. We'll see. All right, so first things first, I'm going to erase this. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and draw in my lines. Actually, I'm going to mess up already. Actually, should I? Let's see something. Let's see if these fit. Oh, I hope they fit. Oh, there's three. I want to use purple. Maybe I should talk about that. I want to use purple because I want to use this washi tape. I think I got this from Temu a long time ago. I've known I wanted to do this theme since like the spring. So I think I want to use this. So I'm going to put this here and this down here. And then I might put florals or something on the side, or I might leave it blank. It's just going to depend on what it looks like. So that's the reason why I went with purple for everything. I think the darker, the better. All right, so I decided to go ahead and add the month stickers, at least January through June 1st, because if I did not do that, then there was going to be a good chance that I would have drawn my purple box, which will indicate my mid-year stats, in the wrong place. So I'm like, let's be safe. Let's go ahead and add those monthly stickers first, and then I know the correct place to draw my box. Now, I did start out with a Sarasa fine tip pen that was purple, and that is starting to dry out. So I switched to a Papermate Flare purple, and I'm glad I did because it did give me a thicker line, which I like a little bit better because the black and the purple, they don't contrast enough where the purple pops from the black. So a thicker line does help it pop a little bit more. And I ended up actually going back over it and making it twice as thick because just going over one time, it didn't make it as thick enough as I'd like. In the end, I do like the final thickness. And I will do the same for the totals as well. I just want those to stand out a little bit more because those obviously are going to be a lot larger numbers because they are tallies for multiple months. So what I'm thinking, at least at this point, I don't have to think about this until the end of June, but I might actually go in maybe with the same purple Papermate Flare, who knows? And I will use that to write the stats for my mid-year or end of the year, and then just use regular pen for the months. That might be what I do, just so you can just see a true difference between the totals and then the monthly totals. Hope that makes sense. So yeah, I just went ahead and I used this Edding pen to draw my black lines. I will say, this Edding pen is pretty much perfection. I really, really like these pens. They kind of remind me of like the Pigma Microns, as far as like you can write it and then like write on your paper and then erase and nothing smudges. It does not smudge at all. You will see me do a lot of erasing and nothing ever smudged. I will say with all of the lines, it does make it look really, really busy, but I find that doing this in table format is just the simplest way to do it. There are several other ways that you can do these stats. You can also simplify it. Obviously, it looks busy because I have so many categories. So if I had less categories, it would look less busy. But like I mentioned earlier, I like stats. So I'm okay with it looking busy. Maybe I'll use different color pens every month. Who knows, to make it look a little bit better. So let's go ahead and chat about the categories. So the first category I have is just the total, which is pretty self-explanatory, but I do want to mention that for me personally, when I do the total books read, it is the actual total books completed. So if I DNF a book, it is not counted. If I read less than 50% of the book and the month, it is not counted. Usually I don't count the book until I actually finish it anyway. So if I start a book in January and I don't finish it until February, I usually count that in February. I haven't ran into many issues where I'm like 70% done at the end of the month and then only 30% left. Usually where I have found myself to be is starting a book on like the last few days of the month and pretty much getting like 15% of the way in until, when the start of the month rolls around. So I would count that in the following month anyway. But that's how I'm going to tally the total books read. Of course, you can do it however you want, but I'm going to do like the book's completed that month only. And then if I read 50% or more of a book and finish it the next month, I will count it in the month where I read 50% more. I know I repeated myself a lot there in that one little blurb, but I just wanted to kind of make it clear. The next column is kind of when I talk about that unfinished book that I'm going to finish the next month. I want to tally that in here, especially if it is a book that I only read 15% of in January. I want to mark that there's one book that I'm kind of in the middle of and I'm going to finish the next month. I just want to put that somewhere. So that is my continued little icon here, or to be continued or incomplete, or however you want to call it. Then I have my DNF, which is did not finish. Those are the ones that I'm not going to finish. I guess I could do another column, but that would be way too much. That would be not finishing right now, but we won't get there because there are some that I'm just not in the mood to read, and then I may go back to later. I usually don't count them at all. Then I have my ebooks, I have my audiobooks, and I have my physical books. I do like to tally those all separately. And then this year, what I'm going to put on this big page, I usually keep track of this on my monthlies, but now I want to keep track of this here, is the number of series that I'm reading that month. So it might just be one, it might be two, it might be three. The number of duologies I'm reading that month, usually it'll just be one. I usually don't even do. Now this isn't completed. This is just if I start a new duology or continuing one or whatever. And then finally the number of standalones. I just wrote the word solo just to fit it in that little space, but there we go. Then we have reading days. I didn't know how to title this to fit into the space, so we're just saying reading days. This is the number of days that I read each month. So if I read 28 out of the 31 in January, I'll write 28 here. I am hoping to be better at tracking this. I'm going to be tracking this in my daily planner, so I don't have to come into my reading journal and write that information in on a daily basis. I can just go back at the end of the month, go through my daily planner, and see how many days I read. Then I have average time to finish. I just wrote average to finish, again, to fit that in here. But that is tracked on Storygraph as long as I'm accurate about when I start and finish a book. So I should be able to get that from there. If I can't, then I'm going to have no clue how to calculate that, and I'll just draw a line through that month. Then I have pages, which is the total pages read, and then hours, which is the total number of hours that I listen to an audiobook. So I do differentiate those. If I listen to an audiobook, I don't count the pages for that book. I only count the hours that I listened. I just like to kind of see that. And then finally, my average rating for the month. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to do this as like just a numeric value, or if I'm going to do stars. Given the final width of that column after I put the washi down, I'll probably just give it a numeric. So I'll probably just write like 3.5 instead of doing 3.5 stars there. So yeah, you will see me now just go ahead and doing like a complete border of washi. At first I was just going to do the top and the bottom, and I had pulled out a sticker book. You might have saw me kind of show it to the camera a while ago when I was chatting about something different. It was like a purple, it had some purple and blue florals, and I was going to add those to the side, but then I thought just kind of doing an entire border of this really cute washi was not only simpler, but I think it would look better than trying to add florals to the mix. So that's kind of the way I went with this design, and in the end, I am happy about that. All right, let's talk about my stats cover page. So you can see I'm pulling out this piece of vellum. I got this from Sterling Ink. My initial thought was to use that. And then after seeing this washi that is super bright and super colorful, I felt like going from that like vellum that has kind of like a classy woodsy vibe, like woodsy color palette. Is that even a thing? Because it's not technically neutral because you have the reds and the greens and stuff. But I didn't want to go from that immediately to my bright purple washi page. So I decided to use this Alice in Wonderland themed washi that I got from Washi Tape Shop, again, ages ago. It is still available, by the way, I think. It used to be available on Amazon too, but I've seen it go in and out of stock. So I decided to put this washi on the top and the bottom of the page. I don't know why I decided it. Fortunately, It does look good in the end, I promise. I was a little worried there. And I wanted to match it up evenly. So you will see when I put the bottom washi down, I match it up to where the top washi starts. So it is perfectly lined up, or very close to being lined up. I do also cut a few images from some leftover pieces of washi that I cut off to kind of put in the middle. And then I'll also use some script washi in a minute to put under, and above the washi border, just so that way it's not such a harsh line. So I really do like how this ended up turning out. And out of all of the spreads that I've done thus far, some of them are sort of cartoony, but this is by far the most cartoony type Alice in Wonderland spread that I have. So I do feel like it's pretty good introduction to my monthly summaries, because my monthly pages are going to be all different. Every month, I'm just going to go by how I feel when I set up the cover design. And then I'll probably use a few stickers on the other pages to complement the cover design for that month. And when I say cover design, I mean just like a cover page that has January on it with some stickers or paper or something like that. And then I'm going to do like readathons, and they may be themed according to that readathon and nothing to do with Alice in Wonderland. So I felt like I could be a little bit more, cartoonish with these few pages with this section, because this section is going to be all over the place when it comes to the decorations. All right, so now let's go ahead and chat about another cover page that I am going to be setting up. And that is going to be the cover page for my reviews. So I'm having all of my reviews in the back of the journal. I've already kind of allotted so many pages for my monthlies, and I think it'll be more than enough. And yes, I have already started doing templates for my reviews. That has been the biggest struggle for me this year, as the year has gone on, is doing my monthly reviews. And I feel like having a template there would make it easier. So I've only done it for 40 books, and I have enough room to get up to 80 books, but I was going to stop at 40, and then I will reevaluate at that time whether I want to keep 2 per page or go 3 per page. So we'll decide at that point how I want to do it, but I do like my template that I created. Well, we will go over that in more detail probably when I do my flip through. So yeah, I'm just going to do a quick cover page here. All I'm going to do is put down the vellum. That is all I'm going to do, is put that down. Again, I got this from Sterling Ink. I purchased a notebook from there, and I needed to pad my order. And they had these like vellum pieces, and I think it was like under $2 for each one. And then I had like a little like 15% off or something like that, made it even cheaper. And then I use a script washi just again to kind of help with like layering it and adding a little bit of interest, because I'm going to be adding the title for this section, which is going to be book reviews, over on the right hand side. And after looking at how pretty this page turned out, because I really like the way the vellum pops and the colors pop when it's taped down to the page, I decided to change my entire game plan when it comes to my, I guess we'll call it like my intro pages of the journal. These are kind of like the ones that are going to explain things that are upcoming. So my ratings guide, what a 5-star means, what a 3-star means, as well as like a key, like color coding key, maybe descriptor keys, what I mean by fantasy romance versus romantasy, because to me they're different. I don't know if I'm going to go that route this year. I might call them all romantasy, but if I wanted to, then that would go in the key. So that's what this page was. I was originally going to use a stencil and do like a clock theme with the white rabbit, or just a rabbit there to kind of, give off that vibe. But I have another sheet of this vellum that I was originally going to use, like I said, as the monthly stats cover page. And being I didn't use it, I'm like, let's use it here. It's a good intro page just because it has a lot of the themes from Alice in Wonderland, but it doesn't scream Alice in Wonderland. So I feel like that's really cool, especially because my very next page after this is my goals page. You can see sneak peeks, and that is her falling into the rabbit hole, which is kind of the start of the story. So this one being more of an introductory page kind of thing with just general themes of that, I think fits really well. So let's chat about my rating guide because, I mean, you can kind of see how I'm decorating it, so we won't go too much into that. But the rating guide. So for this year, I decided to actually do a little bit more descriptions for half stars, even though I also give quarter and 3/4 stars as well. We're just going to leave it to the half stars. You can kind of, I guess I'll just understand that anything between a 4.5 and a 5-star means it's somewhere in between those two descriptions. So let's quickly go over it. 5-star, would reread. That is pretty much the telltale sign that is it a 5-star versus everything else. There is absolutely nothing to complain about. Was it a perfect book? Maybe not, but it was something that I really, really loved. There are some books out there that I'm like, why did I love this book so much? The writing is not that great, but oh my gosh, would I reread it again? Yes. So I'm going to give it a 5-star because the writing did not bother me enough. So then a 4.5 star is very close to perfect, but there was just something about that book or something about that story that gave me pause. Usually for me, it's something either in the very beginning of the story or very end of the story that usually makes me give it a 4-star, I mean a 4.5 star. Usually it's really slow, it drags on, or some of the characters irritate me at the beginning, or the ending feels really rushed. That is usually why I land like on a 4.5 or even 4.75 versus a 5. I may actually reread a 4.5 star, but it's not like an absolute like it would be for a 5-star. So a 4-star in comparison is a page turner. Like there's a strong connection to the characters and the story. I'm unlikely to reread it, especially when compared to the other ones, but I would definitely recommend it to other people. Then we go to a 3.5 star, slightly better than average. I mean, duh. I don't even know why I wrote that because it's like, yeah. It was fun or enjoyable, but it wasn't really memorable. So that's what makes it a 3.5 versus a 4. I'm likely to like remember more of the 4 than the 3.5. A 3, meh, it was just okay. I mean, it wasn't really a waste of time. I wouldn't say that, but I'm not really going to remember much about it. So I better go ahead and write my review now because I probably will forget what to write if I wait like a week or two. That's kind of a 3-star versus everything else. Then we have the 2.5, which means I thought about stopping a lot while I was reading it, but I like pushed through. It had okay parts, so it wasn't like a total loss, but I probably wouldn't recommend this one at all. And a 2-star should have DNF'd. I did not go below a 2-star because I rarely even give 2 stars. Usually I will DNF a 2-star. So I'm usually at a 3 stars, like the lowest I'll go, but I decided just for giggles, we will put them all on here. All right, let's chat about my decorating really, really quick. I decided to create a pocket, y'all. Yeah, so I wanted a pocket to have my key, like I said, any other things that I need to explain so I don't forget in the future. Maybe a color code sheet so I can kind of use the same colors throughout. I'll put like the Tombow number on it or whatever. And I didn't want a huge pocket to cover up the decor, so I just cut around the little bunny and put that in there to make a really tiny pocket that I hope holds all of the papers. All right, guys, so that is it. So I will pretty much now turn it back over to Real-Time Tracy to wrap things up. All right, y'all, there we go. So I had went back and forth about whether or not I wanted to print this out and just put them on here, but I kind of like the handwritten look. Yeah, but this is really pretty. I'm glad I went ahead and went with this instead of the other thing I was thinking about, which was using this stencil and doing the clocks and stuff like that. That would have been a lot of work. I knew I wanted a pocket. Originally, I was going to do rating guide over here if I did the stencils and stuff, and then do a pocket over here that I could put like other sheets in for other types of keys, like color coding keys. If I wanted to do a spice rating or any other kind of rating in the future, if I wanted to alter this rating, then I can do it in the pocket. I'm not going to alter it, but just in case. This is a very minimal pocket. So, I mean, it feels like it's secure and it probably will do the job just because these papers are so small. But I didn't want a big pocket because this is just so pretty. And I kind of like how you know, the bunny is cut around there. So it looks like more part of the image than like a separate piece of the image. I just didn't want to do a big square pocket there. I don't even know if I'm going to use them. But I knew I wanted it just in case, because a year is a long time and you just don't know what you're going to need to add. So let's go back to the other pages I did. So, of course, I got to finish this up. But this actually turned out really, really cute too. I like this. And then this. This is a lot brighter once I put it on paper than I thought it was going to be, which is why I ended up changing gears here. I feel like I wanted it more cartoonish for the cover page, being this is kind of cartoonish, but I still think it's cute. I like it. I think it's fun. You will see when I do my flip through, it is a complete 360 from everything else. And then finally, a to be finished cover page here for my reading reviews. I will probably write book reviews here, and then I might just keep like a tally or something down here. So I'm probably not going to fill anything else up with stickers or anything. I'm just probably going to do the title at some point. But these were just too pretty not to use. I bought them specifically for this reading journal, so that's why I'm going to use it. Of course, I could have used it on a monthly spread, but I wanted to use it on one of my annual spreads. So there we go, guys. I hope you enjoyed this setup video. Hopefully it gave you guys some ideas, maybe even like how to do a stats page or something like that, or even my reading reviews or things like that. And then you got to see me decorate it while I discussed that. All right, guys. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to watch this video. If you enjoyed it, press that like button. And if you have yet to subscribe, I hope you would also consider subscribing to my channel. That's all I have for now. I hope you have a good rest of your day, evening, or night. Until next time, bye.